welcome to WCBN Sports' coverage of Michigan basketball. I'm Alex Drain here with Nabil Beg, and it's been a very interesting day in the news and current events, but thankfully we get to take our minds off of that for a big matchup here in the Big Ten at Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor between Michigan and Minnesota, a top 20 matchup. Michigan enters at either number 9 or number 10, depending on which poll you use. Minnesota at 15th or 16th. Gophers coming in off a big win against Ohio State on Sunday. Michigan coming in off a big win against Northwestern that same night. And these two teams collide here today. Minnesota 10-2 on the season, 3-2 in the conference. Michigan 9-0 on the season, 4-0 in the conference. The only Big Ten team still undefeated. What are you looking for here today?
Well, I'm looking for a very fun matchup today with both the squads on the floor today. You have Minnesota, who's coming off some big wins, also a couple losses to Wisconsin. They've actually never won on the road this year, so not sure if that has anything to do with it, with the no fans in the arena. But if you're looking at the cardboard cutouts and getting scared, I'm not sure if fans are going to hurt you there. Minnesota has two main offensive stars. You got Liam Robbins and you got their guard Marcus Carr. Marcus Carr is scoring around 22 points a game, it looks like. He's going to be an important person for the Michigan Wolverines to stop from getting going pretty early in the game. In Minnesota's last game where they won by 17 points against Ohio State, number 25 seed at the time. Their guard Gabe Kalshur went 3 for 6 from the three-point land, which he's had a tough year shooting, but he's a three-point shooter, and so Minnesota definitely wants to get him going in this game and see if he can continue that good stretch from last game. On the Michigan offensive side, Hunter Dickinson is killing it down low, and we have to see if Minnesota has any answers to him. But I'd want to see a more well-rounded attack from the Wolverines today, rather than just pushing it down low to Hunter Dickinson. And hopefully Eli Brooks can help make that happen.
Well, definitely the Dickinson Liam Robbins matchup is the one to watch in this game. The player introductions have been going on in the background, so it may be a bit loud on the periphery at the moment, but it should quiet down in just about 15 seconds or so. Both teams huddling up. The lights are out here in Chrysler as customary when you do the introductions. Now they've been raised up. The fight song plays, and the players will get ready for the opening tip-off. Michigan wearing the all-maize uniforms. Minnesota wearing, actually not sure what color their jerseys will be. Looks like all maroon.
That's a pretty fun color matchup.
We have to see when they take off their sweatshirts. Parents are in the building. Second straight game that family members have been allowed in. The first two of the season, that regulation went in right before the basketball season started, but now they are allowed back in. All eyes for Michigan, not just on Dickinson, but Franz Wagner. 51% from the field on the year, 12.2 points per game. He had 5 blocks on Sunday against Northwestern, really showing off the wingspan in that game.
Franz Wagner does remind me of Mo Wagner a little bit, but I think that doesn't mean much because they're siblings.
Yeah, they definitely have the sort of playing smaller than their position. Mo Wagner is much more mobile than your average big man, and Franz Wagner's length, especially in the wingspan, much longer than your average shooting guard, small forward combo.
I will say Mo was bigger.
Yeah, just by a couple
Franz.
inches. Franz is now listed at 6'10", I believe, after this offseason. But they do play a little bit different of a style.
Yeah.
Both teams have put their starting 5 out there.
This is Michigan basketball.
Liam Robbins will do the tip-off with Hunter Dickinson. Those are two players that are new this year to their schools. Robbins, a transfer from Drake University, and Dickinson, the freshman from DeMatha Catholic in Hyattsville, Maryland. Michigan goes with the usual starting five: Smith, Brooks, Livers, Wagner, and Dickinson. And Minnesota wins the opening tip, and Marcus Carr, the star point guard for Minnesota, starts with the basketball, passes it over to Gabe Kalsher, the right wing side. Now they'll begin to set up the offense. Brandon Johnson with it. Now he hands it out to Booth Gack. Another new face out to Liam Robbins just outside the three-point arc. Tried to get it inside to Johnson. Walled off for a second. He lost it. Now kicks it to the corner. It goes out of bounds. And Michigan will take over, forcing a turnover on the first defensive possession of the game, are the Wolverines.
Some great active defense, active hands there by the Michigan Wolverines. Really never putting their hands down the entire possession.
Mike Smith brings the ball up, passes it over to Isaiah Livers. He stands just inside the three-point arc, waiting to get the offense set up. Now passes it over to Brooks. Gets a small screen from Dickinson. Steps away, passes over to Livers. Straight up three, no, off the mark, but Dickinson's got it inside, puts it back up and puts it in off the window. And the first points go to Michigan.
Incredible box out there by Dickinson. Just really giving it to Liam Robbins, not letting him get any space down low and getting that rebound, putting it back up.
Dickinson entered today shooting 72% from the field, a staggering number for the freshman. Now they try to go back inside again. Michigan got the hand on it. Looked like Wagner there, but Minnesota able to recover. Pass it back around. That's Carr on the perimeter. Dribbles just inside the arc. Now kicks to the corner. Finds Kalsher. They go inside to Robbins. Robbins face up on Wagner, and he just puts it in with the left-handed hook. And that's the matchup we're watching. The big men get the first 2 points for each side. And now Michigan comes up the floor and turns it over. Looked like Mike Smith handing it off to Eli Brooks. The ball got mixed up and it rolls out of bounds. Minnesota will take over.
Just a little too fast there by Eli Brooks, just not getting the play set up and kind of running a lackluster effort in the corner.
Carr dribbles it up. We are 100 seconds into the game. Carr inside, uses contact from Brooks. No call. His shot's off the mark. Michigan's got numbers as Carr hit the floor hard. They've got Brooks open for three from the wing. That shot off the mark. And the rebound down by Johnson. Minnesota comes back up in transition the other way, running fast to Kalsher in the corner. That shot is swatted by Franz Wagner. The long arms again with another big block. Michigan now comes up. They kick it to Franz in the corner. He'll slow it down. Now he's backing in into the lane, spinning around. Lost the ball, though, into the corner. Brooks got it back, then it goes out of bounds off the Minnesota body. That looks like it was off Kalsher there in the corner. Michigan will inbound it in. Both teams trying to play fast right now.
Yeah, good. There were some good looks there by Eli Brooks, but he unfortunately couldn't get it down.
Brooks inbounds it into Wagner, just outside the three-point arc. Gets poked at by Kalsher, who's trying to pry the basketball free. Now they get it to Wagner at the elbow. He's got a height advantage over Kalsher, and he's backing him down. Into the paint. Little baby hook is off the mark. Hit the heel and popped way out. Gack the rebound down, and he brings it up. Switches on, delivers. Standing just at the edge of the block M. Now over to Robbins. Robbins waits with it. He tried to hand it off to Johnson, kind of hit him in the head, and now Robbins knocks down a long shot, trying to see if that was a three, and it was. And it's 5-2 Minnesota. Michigan comes back up the other way. 3 minutes gone. And Livers will draw the first foul of the game as he tries to drive inside and gets contact from Johnson.
It looked like Robbins was not planning on hitting a three in that last possession, but the ball kind of fell to him in a place where he thought, oh, why not shoot it?
Yeah, Robbins just kind of went up with it, and it went in. Michigan inbounds it from the baseline. They get Wagner on Kalsher again. Now he kicks corner. Livers open three. That one is good, and it's 5-all.
Great kick out there by Wagner to draw the defense in and then kick it back out to Livers, who's waiting in the corner.
Both teams made 2 field goals so far. A couple turnovers in the game as well. And it's a 5-all contest just over 3 minutes in. Booth Gack with the ball. Over to Johnson. Hard closeout there from Livers trying to get it free. Now Carr open three, and that shot is going to be an air ball. Out of bounds. Michigan will take over. Carr was kind of shooting a fadeaway three there.
Yeah.
Not the best look early in the shot clock.
Great defense so far on Carr by the Michigan defense. kind of just switching on everything, making him play outside of his comfort zone inside, trying to drive.
Liam Robbins is 2 for 2. Everyone else 0 for 3 so far for Minnesota. There's Mike Smith in the lane. His shot off the mark. These two teams a little sleepy so far offensively, trying to get it going. Minnesota has made a substitution. Einen is now into the game. Kick around with it. Now inside Robbins. Dickinson is on him. That's good defense from the freshman. It's tipped around, and Michigan will grab the rebound. Livers over to Brooks. Lays it behind for Smith. Wolverines getting set up. Smith to Brooks. Now that entry pass denied by Robbins, who saves it in the corner. Really nice play defensively by Liam Robbins to take that one away. He's been a standout 4 minutes in for the Gophers. Carr harassed by Brooks. There's the kick. Robbins again. That shot off the heel. Michigan will let it trickle out of bounds, and we will head to the under 16 timeout. 4 minutes into the game. 5-all between Michigan and Minnesota.
Yep. Things looking a little bit sloppy, as you said a little bit earlier. Maybe that comes with the 8:30 start time, I'm not sure. But Michigan has had some good looks comparative to Minnesota's run things through Liam Robbins and Marcus Carr. Marcus Carr has had a little bit of a slow start, but that's also on Michigan's defense for not letting him get the ball as easily as he would have liked a couple times. Liam Robbins has shot 2 threes, made 1. Liam Robbins also was having his way down low with both Hunter Dickinson in the way and also Franz Wagner. So far both teams playing just a little bit differently than they would normally this early. They're both off to a little slower starts, even though they're playing a little bit fast.
Yeah, both of these teams are good offensive teams. Michigan comes in, if we look at efficiency as measured by Ken Pomeroy's KenPom.com. Minnesota, the 17th ranked offense by adjusted efficiency. Michigan's number 7 in adjusted efficiencies. These are both top 20 teams and top 20 offenses specifically. The defense is not as much. Minnesota 39th, Michigan 29th, so you'd expect this to be more of a high-scoring game, but hasn't manifested so far. 5 points each as we sit with 15:31 to go in the first half, and you're listening to Michigan basketball on WCBN Sports.
I will say I'm looking for Michigan to be a little better with their possessions. So far, it looks like they're playing a lot of one-on-one, and I like to see that when Michigan plays basketball, they play passing more and finding open men, which they did on that one possession to Livers in the corner, where Wagner kind of brought the defense in with him and then just kicked it out. I mean, the score could be 11-5 right now if Michigan hit those 2 open threes, but...
Yeah, Michigan's had some good looks.
Yeah.
Shots haven't fallen yet. If we look at Marcus Carr, he's at 22.1 points per game. That's 3rd in the conference. His assists at 5.9 per game is 1st. He's 5th in three-pointers made per game at 2.3, and he's 1st in minutes per game. He's played, on average, 36 minutes a game. That is 90% of the basketball game. And that's his average so far this year.
And it's pretty incredible because of how fast he runs the entire time. He's always running and gunning. And he works hard on that floor. It's not like he's taking off some of those minutes and he's not playing defense. He's doing pretty well on the defensive end as well. So
Minnesota 29% from the field. Michigan 33% from the field. Both teams have made 1 3 in the early going. Just 1 foul so far in the first 4 minutes and 29 seconds. That was to Minnesota's Johnson. Michigan inbounds it from their own baseline, and Mike Smith brings the ball up. Gets a hard screen from Dickinson. Now he dribbles outside, flips to Isaiah Livers. Dribbles baseline, now back out Smith. Double pumps, drives in the lane. Bounce pass for Dickinson and the slam. And it's 7-5 Wolverines.
Absolutely beautiful pass there by Mike Smith. Kind of faking the driving, running lane, and then jumping it off to Dickinson.
Now Carr over to Robbins. Now over to Einen. Dribbles around with it, kicks it out. There's a three-point attempt. No, tipped around, and Dickinson grabs the rebound down. Smith dribbles into the paint, and he's going to kick it out. Brooks from the wing for three, and they actually say that Smith, I believe, traveled before he made that pass. He ran into trouble there, and...
Yeah, he just kind of jumped up with it and came back down.
Yeah. And then he made the pass to the wing. So that's another turnover for Michigan. Their third. That's the one thing that Michigan has struggled with under Juwan Howard are the turnovers. Famously, Michigan almost never turned it over under John Beeline. Juwan Howard's system a little bit different. There's a steal from Eli Brooks and a turnover going the other way. Eli Brooks with the right-handed scoop and finish off the window. Richard Patino is not happy about that. We get a whistle. Not sure if he's taking a timeout or he's just mandating a substitution. They're going to bring Kalsher in and Booth Gack off the court. 14:20 to go in the first half. 9-5 now, Wolverines.
I think Gack's shoe came off.
Oh.
And so he had to get a player in.
Well, with that, Minnesota is now 0 for their last 4, and they have not scored in 3 minutes because Carr brings the ball across half court. 9-5 Wolverines. Mike Smith playing aggressive defense. They flip it out to Einen. Now to Carr. He drives baseline inside. Michigan hounds him, kicks it out wildly. Just barely corralled on the perimeter there by Jamal Moshburn. He drives inside, kicks the way to the other corner. Kalsher's in trouble. Back to Moshburn, and he stepped out of bounds before he was about to go up with the three. He missed the three anyway, and Michigan forces a second straight turnover from Minnesota, and the scoring drought continues.
Yeah, great defense there by Michigan. Making that ball move around, but no one was really getting open for the Minnesota for the Minnesota squad. And Minnesota's now one for the last 7.
Yep. Michigan has now made their first substitution. Shawnee Brown has come into the game, trying to see who they brought off the floor. Looks like it's Mike Smith. Brooks kicks out to Livers. He dribbles inside, and he's stripped. Carr took it away. Minnesota's running 3-on-2 the other direction. Nice pass, Carr to Kalsher. Drives baseline, up and under. Scoop and a score off the window there for Gabe Kalsher, and it's 9-7.
It's Kalsher's first points of the game.
First points by anybody who isn't Liam Robbins for Minnesota. Yes. Eli Brooks across to Shawnee Brown. They're going to set it up for Dickinson. Spin move off the window and in. Hunter Dickinson. The double team came. He sensed it, spun the other direction, and carved up the interior defense for Minnesota. The freshman from Maryland's got 6 points for the Wolverines thus far. Now a wild pass from Liam Robbins is too far for anybody. Franz Wagner again, almost playing cornerback right there. And the pass goes out of bounds errantly. Michigan takes over with an 11-7 lead. 12:51 to go here in the first half. And now Michigan's made some more substitutions. They're going to give Dickinson a quick rest. Brandon Johns Jr. comes into the game, so Michigan's offense will have to change a little bit without their leading scorer on the floor. Livers into the lane. Baby jumper falls short and out of bounds. Kind of a half-hearted attempt from the free throw line right there.
It looked like that shot was blocked. That's what Juwan Howard is kind of fighting for right now.
Yeah, and Isaiah Livers is irate as well. He says his shot got a piece of a Minnesota hand, and therefore it should be Michigan basketball.
It was an air ball.
It did not hit any rim, but
yes.
Obviously if it was blocked, it would still be Michigan's, but the referees didn't see any blocks, so instead Minnesota will take over. That's another miss for Michigan, and they still cling to the 11-7 lead, though. Kalsher, they go inside, trying to set up Eric Curry on the low block. Curry's initial shot is off the mark, gets his own rebound. He's swatted by Brandon Johns on the second attempt. Michigan comes in transition. Wagner running with it, hands it off to Johns. Wagner pull up from 3 from the wing, rattles in and rattles out. Tough luck for Franz right there. Now up they come with it. Carr in transition, lays it up, no. Tipped around, out of bounds, off Eric Curry. Man, this is a fast-paced game right now.
Already at the 12-minute mark. The score is only 11-7. It feels like it should be a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, well, possessions are just going. I mean, shots are going up with 20 on the shot clock. These teams are not using a lot of time right now. Eager to run up the floor. Johns with the ball. Over to Mike Smith. Smith into the lane, and he's just going to lay it up and lay it in. No resistance at the rack once Smith turned the corner on the Minnesota defense. Michigan's now got their largest lead of the game, which is 6. Minnesota's still only made 1 of their last 8 from the field. Kalsher with it across to Curry, now to Carr. Carr inside, flips to Curry at the elbow. He's going to try and back in on Brandon Johns, who swatted him a minute ago. His little hook shot is good. Eric Curry, the oft-injured big man for Minnesota, hasn't played a ton since the 2017-2018 year, but a little healthier this year. Smith bounce pass underneath. Wagner, no, his shot off the mark, but it's tipped around on the rebound, and it'll go out of bounds off a Minnesota hand. Michigan will stick with it. And we head to the under 12 timeout. 11:10 to go in the first half. 13-9, Michigan on top.
The refs are calling this game a little looser than I thought they would. Both teams are playing pretty physical down low. On Curry's last baby hook shot, he looked like he got a little bump there, but they didn't call much. Wagner just went up for a shot. He got a little bump. He's fighting a little bit about that, but he didn't get a call. It's not necessarily a bad thing when refs aren't calling things that normally would probably get called. And they've been pretty consistent throughout, so that's not something that I think will be too worrisome down the line for either team. It just has to adapt the way they play. Dickinson on that last play before he went onto the bench, he got that ball down low and made a spin move in like probably under 3 seconds. It was actually reminded me of some Shaq kind of move. It was pretty impressive. I was like, oh dang. But he's been playing very well for the Wolverines. He has 6 points, but he's resting on the bench right now. Livers is playing pretty good as well. He's getting some open looks. He's only made the 1-3. Mike Smith had a beautiful driving in layup that he faked on that one time and passed on Dickinson down low. But this time he took it all the way in, and there was no one on the Minnesota Gopher squad that could keep up with him. Besides that, Marcus Carr is still silent with 0 points, and Minnesota is still in this game 13-9. Michigan's playing some great defense on him so far. And
I mean, if you're Richard Pitino, that's got to be one thing you're encouraged about, is that you're in the game while your best player isn't scoring yet. On the other hand, your best player isn't scoring, which is something that they're going to have to figure out how to rectify that. Carr is 0 for 3 from the field at this juncture. 1 steal, and he's missed 1 shot from beyond the arc. So we sit here with 11:10 to play in the first half. Michigan a 4-point lead, and they'll have the basketball when we come back from this timeout.
But it's been a pretty fast-paced game, which I like to see. They've kind of cleaned up that sloppiness that they had early on, and the teams are playing with more passing ability, finding better shots, finding more quality shots. They definitely have not slowed down in taking shots early in the shot clock. But this is actually a good rematch from the past 2 years, in which Minnesota won last year, I feel, if I'm remembering correctly. And Michigan won on a game buzzer beater here at Crisis Center in 2019 from Abdurrahman.
Charles Matthews.
Oh, Charles Matthews.
Yeah.
Yes.
Michigan out of the timeout, gets it to Johns inside. Nice little move, and he puts it in off the glass. 15-9 Michigan, and now Shawnee Brown harassing the inbounds pass, almost forced a turnover. Plays such aggressive defense, and he's the one guarding Marcus Carr right now. Brown is not a point guard, but they like his athleticism to counter Carr. Carr kicks to Kalsher in the corner. Good closeout from Smith, but a tough shot made there from Kalsher. I wasn't sure if he was inside the three-point arc. He was.
They called it 2.
Yeah, 15-11 now the score. Smith to Johns. Johns stands and sets the offense up. There's the screen for Mike Smith. Smith flips it up to Johns. That is going to go out of bounds off Johns' hands. The lob a little sloppy there.
Yeah, probably not the best pass there by Smith. Kind of just left it in the air too long. And as we look at the big board for that 3-point or for that 2-pointer that was right on the line, it looked like he was just on the line there. Kauscher was.
Now Isaiah Livers is being taken off the court. Dickinson back on. They're going to leave Johns out there and have Dickinson at the 5, Johns at the 4, Wagner at the 3, Brown 2, and Smith 1. Interesting lineup here for Michigan as we approach the halfway point of the first half, 15-11. Wolverines on top. They've led pretty much the entire game so far. Minnesota stayed close though. Carr flips it out. Johnson open 3. That one off the heel. Athletic rebound there from Franz Wagner to sky up for it, and Smith comes up. Michigan's got Eli Brooks waiting at the scorer's table to come in at the next whistle. Sean D. Brown for a long 2 does not go. Minnesota comes up with it. Michigan's defense did not get that one correct, and Kauscher has a wide open 3 that he misses everything on. Minnesota having some problems with the air ball thus far. Michigan grabs the rebound down. Wolverines come up with it. Wagner to Dickinson. He's at the elbow. What a pass there to the corner to Johns. He's over to Brown. Brown guarded well. Out to Wagner. They'll set it back up. 10 on the shot clock. Smith has it poked free by Robbins, and then he's going to draw a bump on the baseline. That's a really smart job by Mike Smith to draw a foul. It'll reset the shot clock to 20 and also tack Liam Robbins, key player for Minnesota, with a foul.
Yeah, good play there by Smith, who got kind of trapped in the corner a little bit. And, yeah, perfectly said. He got that foul, and he got them the shot clock, and he got a foul tacked on to Liam Robbins.
Wagner comes off the floor. Brooks comes on. They go back to Dickinson at the elbow. He's backing in on Robbins. Dickinson inside, flips it up, and that one's an air ball. Minnesota grabs it down. Carr comes up the floor, switches on to Johns. Now they try to go inside. Sean D. Brown gets in the way and just swats that one away violently from the reach of Brandon Johnson.
Good defense there by Michigan.
Michigan plays such an athletic and long style around the basket. The inbound will come from behind the hoop from Trey Williams. Flips it into Robbins, over to Carr. They get passing well into the corner, now driving inside and swatted there. Dickinson and Johns got on it. Minnesota takes it back. Robbins has it open shot in the lane, and he missed a bunny right there. That was from inside the free throw line, and Robbins' little jumper just did not go. Brooks picks it up. He gives it over to Smith. Back to Brooks. His open 3 is off the heel. A lot of struggling offense right now. Michigan hasn't scored in over 2 minutes. Minnesota hasn't made a field goal in their last 4, but there they do. Driving inside well is Marcus Carr, and he lays it in.
That was Marcus Carr's first 2 points of the game.
And we're going to get a timeout from Juwan Howard, who wants to end this 2-minute and 45-second scoring drought that Michigan's been in. Michigan shooting 41% from the field, Minnesota 32%. Still pretty sluggish offense at this juncture.
Yeah, he probably doesn't. Juwan Howard probably does not enjoy watching what's going on right now. Mostly because the defense is playing so well that it's keeping Minnesota down to only 13 points, yet on the same end, the Minnesota defense is kind of having their way with Michigan as well. And so Juwan Howard probably wants to see that the offense get a little stronger, more feisty, and protect the ball a little bit more and make better plays so that their players are open. They are getting some open shots and they're just not hitting them, which he can't be too mad at. Yet sometimes the shots are being taken with 15 seconds on the clock, 10 seconds on the clock, when maybe if you ran and played for 5 more seconds, you can get a better shot. I mean, for Richard Pitino, he's definitely gotten a great defensive showing from his squad as well. Yet if Carr is at his usual pace, which is probably around 6 points, 6-8 points at this point, they'd be in the lead. So he probably wants to get more production out of Marcus Carr.
And that last lay-in for Carr is definitely a good sign to get him going.
Yeah.
Finally turned the corner and was able to sprint into the lane athletically and lay it in. Michigan just needs to get the offense rebooted. Dickinson back out onto the floor. He missed his last hook shot, but is 3 for 4 thus far.
The offense definitely does run through Dickinson, which is it's pretty novel to see in today's basketball world where the center kind of gets a good amount of plays called for him. Eli Brooks or Smith would go to the wing and kind of dump it off to Dickinson right outside the paint, backing his defender down. And the one play, Dickinson passed it back out, and the other one, Dickinson actually shot the baby hook that missed the entire rim, but he still got a pretty good look. And so, I think Kalsher's on the Gopher side, Kalsher's is having a tough time from three-point land.
Yeah, Kalsher 0 for 2 from 3 thus far.
Yeah.
Out of the timeout, see the lineups for the two teams. Minnesota will put Moshburn, Trey Williams, Robbins, Kalsher, and Johnson. So Carr's going to sit on the bench for a few minutes to get a little rest. Michigan will have Sean D. Brown out with Mike Smith, Livers, Brooks, and Hunter Dickinson. Sean D. Brown inbounds it to Smith. Smith passes it back to Brown, and it's slapped out of bounds by Trey Williams. Do an inbound again, 22 on the shot clock. He gets it into Mike Smith, over to Sean D. Brown. Now to Livers. And Smith inside, kicks it to Livers again. Livers is going to draw a foul there. He bangs in the shot after the whistle, but it will be waved off on the blocking foul.
Brandon Johnson, his second personal foul, team's third.
Johnson gets hit with the foul.
That was one of the more ticky-tack calls that the refs have called today.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little bit surprised about.
Not many fouls at this juncture.
Yeah.
3 on Minnesota. Michigan still doesn't have a single foul called on them, and we are almost 12 full minutes into this basketball game. Inbound from Brooks to Smith on the baseline. Smith dribbles into the paint, flips it over to Dickinson, and the two-handed slam ends Michigan's 3-minute scoring drought.
Great pass there. It's almost like a pick and roll, yet like he's just dragging along the Dickinson's defender.
Kalsher with the ball, passes it over to Moshburn. His step back, I think that's a 3, and it goes through. We'll see what they. It's a long 2, but a really good shot there from Moshburn. Livers baseline jumper, he got it. Crossover fadeaway jumper there from Isaiah Livers. Now the offense flowing a little bit for these two teams.
Some nice one-on-one basketball there by Livers.
Moshburn gets around Smith into the lane, but then Smith takes it away, goes out of bounds off his chest, and that'll take us to the under 8 timeout, or at least it should. Not sure if they're going to change the commercial alignment with that timeout from Howard. I believe they are. Wagner checks back in. They'll put Brown back on the bench. Gok back in for Minnesota as well. Robbins across to Kalsher. Now there's a steal by Livers. He's into the open floor, and whoa! What a slam there from Isaiah Livers. A violent one-handed tomahawk slam. Oh.
That was some beautiful dunkage there by Isaiah Livers.
There was a Minnesota player on his heel. I was worried that he was going to hit him in the face with the drawback there on the slam. And now we get a quick timeout, I think, from Richard Pitino.
It was a bit LeBron-esque there, actually, getting that dunk in.
Man.
If there's one person on this Michigan team that I would expect to do that kind of dunk, it would be Livers. He definitely has the strength to give you that wow dunk, you know.
So Minnesota calls a 30-second timeout. Michigan's made their last 3 from the field, including that slam dunk off the turnover.
This offense is starting to flow a little bit more.
Yeah. Both teams 5 turnovers. Michigan shooting 50% from the field, though. Minnesota 35%. Still just 1 3-pointer made for both teams. Interesting at this juncture.
Isaiah Livers. Oh, no, Liam Robbins has the other one on the Gophers.
Yes.
But
Out of the timeout, Minnesota inbounds the ball in. Kalsher cross to Carr, now over to Gach. He crosses over on Brooks, kicks it back out. They'll try to get everything set up again. They get the entry pass to Robbins. He spins on the baseline. He's in trouble. Dickinson gets him to shoot it off the window, and Minnesota isn't going to get a shot off that hits the iron, and it's a shot clock violation. The closest they got to it was Robbins' hook shot from the baseline that went off the side of the backboard. They got the ball back and were passing it around when the 30-second timer expired. So out of the timeout by Patino, Minnesota turns it over on a shot clock violation. Michigan's defensive intensity very high right now. Smith inside. He had Brooks open on the wing. He finds Wagner instead straight up. His three-pointer is good. And that's the largest lead of the game now for Michigan. A 9-point advantage with 6 minutes even to go in the first half. 24-15, and it's a 7-0 run in the last minute and 11 seconds. Carr gets a screen. He's going to attempt his three. That shot is short, tipped around, and Smith grabs the rebound in the corner. Mike Smith dribbles up with it, gets the screen from Dickinson. He's inside, throws on the brakes, kicks it back out. Livers open three. That one off the heel, and it just trickles out. Gach the rebound. Flips it over to Robbins. Robbins hands it off to Carr. Carr's pass is tipped around. Wagner got a hand in the lane. Now Minnesota gets it back, and now they're going to call a foul. Trying to see who it's on. I think it's going to be on Smith. And that ball was loose on the floor there, and the players were going at it. He's going to get
That's Michigan's first foul.
Yeah, Michigan's first foul comes with 5:22 to go in the first half.
And keeping Minnesota to only 15 points when their style of active defense is it's admirable, very admirable.
Minnesota inbounds it back in. Carr with it outside. Now they find it around, and there's an open three-pointer in the corner. That goes through for Justin Einen, and Minnesota eats back into the Michigan advantage a little bit, 24-18. They got to stop Michigan's offense, which has made 4 of its last 5 from the field. Smith goes inside to Dickinson, and we're going to get a foul underneath on the Gophers, I think on Gach. Yeah.
Yeah, they're picking up the fouls a little bit more as this game has gone on. Yet Minnesota is struggling a little bit to combat the amount of movement Michigan has on all their plays.
They inbound it to Smith outside the three-point arc. Dribbles inside. He's in the paint. Flips it around. Nice pass to Eli Brooks. Baseline. Finds Dickinson at the elbow. His jumper is good. Dickinson so poised there, who has really had a monopoly on Big Ten Freshman of the Week this year. And he threads that one through. That's 10 points. And another steal for Isaiah Livers. Let's see what he does this time. Another jam! A two-handed slam. And Michigan now leads 28-18. That's the second monster jam from Isaiah Livers in this first half, and both on identical steals right around midcourt. They get it out. Another three-pointer, that one from Einen, and again tipped around. Livers the rebound. He comes up with it. 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Gets the screen from Dickinson inside. That ball tipped around. It's loose on the floor. Minnesota takes it away. Eric Curry with the rock. Livers gets up a little slowly. Now he jogs down the court. Carr flips it around. Einen to Gach. Now down low to Curry. They've got Robbins off the court. Back out to Gach. That shot, no, tipped around. Michigan's got to try to retrieve it, and Livers saves it as he goes sprawling out of bounds. That would normally be into the first row of seats, but there are no seats there. Now here comes Dickinson for the two-handed slam. And Michigan is on a roll right now. They have made 7 of their last 8 from the field. They lead 30-18 on a 13-3 run in the last 4 minutes.
Beautiful brand of basketball being played by Michigan right now. But it all starts on the defensive end.
And the parents in the stands are fired up right now, and Curry is denied by Dickinson. Michigan is on a roll at the moment. Livers hands it off to Mike Smith. Minnesota's now missed their last 4 from the field. They're just one of their last 7. They haven't scored in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Patino's already used 1 timeout here in this first half. He might have to use another soon to stop the bleeding. Smith gets the screen from Dickinson, dribbles inside. He's going to flip it up for Dickinson and throws it out of bounds. Now we get the under 4 timeout, and Minnesota can slow it down for a second. 30-18, Michigan on top. 2:37 to go in the first half.
Besides that last possession, Michigan has played some excellent basketball. They've been moving the ball around very effectively. They've been getting some good plays in. They've been finding the open man. They've remained poised under pressure. They've hit some quality shots. On the defensive end, they've gotten some good steals. A couple by Isaiah Liver leading to runaway jams. And they've been playing really good on both ends. And they score. I think they're on a 12-3 run, if I'm not mistaken. And they've been playing very, very, very a very great brand of basketball right now, which Juwan Howard has to be very happy to see. And I'm sure he's probably telling them to continue to do the same. Richard Pitino's probably glad there's an under 4 timeout. That he didn't have to use one of his. But that whole entire sequence happened with Robbins on the bench, and so with Carr having a rougher game with only 2 points in this half, you kind of need Robbins out there to help get you some more scoring, because he has a third of their points.
Michigan on a 6-0 run in the last 2 minutes and 9 seconds. A 13-3 run over the last 4 minutes and 45 seconds. The Gophers haven't scored in 2 minutes and 34 seconds. Looking at the split box, Dickinson leads Michigan with 12. Livers with 9. For Minnesota, Robbins with 5 still. Kalsher with 4. Carr with 2, Einen with 3. I mean, it's a pretty sparse box score right now for the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Yeah, it's kind of tough right now for the Gophers on the offensive side, but I know they're gonna try to get their brand of basketball being played. They're kind of being submissive to Michigan's fast-paced down the floor, but taking your time and finding a good open shot. And so that's unfortunately been hurting them.
Well, Michigan, you look at their season so far, they're 10-0 or 9-0, trying to get to 10-0, 4-0 in the conference. And the Big Ten schedule, it is really, really brutal. This year, there are no easy games. And Michigan, though, are actually going to get this Saturday off, scheduled to play Penn State, but that game has now been postponed as the Nittany Lions are still dealing with a COVID-19 outbreak, which means Michigan's next game will be in 6 days here at Chrysler Center against Wisconsin, which will be a huge one, given that the Badgers are among the nation's 5 or 10 best teams. And then they'll see Minnesota again 10 days from now on the 16th in Minneapolis. So that's the upcoming schedule for the Wolverines. Marcus Carr comes up the floor, hands it off to Gabe Kalsher. Kalsher dribbles in the lane, and he's going to get bumped there by Mike Smith. That'll be Smith's second foul, so for a Michigan team that has no real foul trouble, Smith with 2 might have to come off the floor here, and he will for Sean D. Brown. No one else besides Mike Smith has been tagged with a foul in this game for Michigan.
Minnesota 4 fouls.
Yeah,
Mike Smith 2 fouls.
No one's close to the bonus right now, as we play with 2:25 to go in the first half. A little bit of room there for a Minnesota shooter, and it goes through. That's Marcus Carr, and he trims the lead back to single digits from 12 to 9.
Good play there by Carr, just finding a little bit of a seam and finding an open shot there.
Terrence Williams now onto the floor for the first time today for Michigan, and Hunter Dickinson's little hook shot goes through. 32-21. Big man's got 14 of Michigan's 32 points so far on 7 of 8 from the field. He came in shooting 72%. Carr's got open room from 3 again, and he knocks another one through. Just really a small window there, and Carr's starting to heat up. That's good news for the Gophers.
Yeah, both leading scorers, Dickinson and Carr, kind of going at it these last two plays. This next play looks to be like it's going to go through Dickinson as well.
Brooks got to the baseline, ran into trouble. Now they'll set up the offense again. Dickinson sets the screen. Shawnee Brown, long step back, fadeaway jumper is no good. Minnesota grabs down the rebound. They've got a chance to trim it back to within 6 or 5 if they can get some points here on this possession. Carr's going to dribble inside, but we got a foul underneath before the shot. 1:15 to go in the first half. 32-24, Michigan on top.
Dickinson has a beautiful soft touch when he gets inside, and Carr has just made his last 2 threes look very easy, and looks like it looked like he'd been scoring the whole game, and he just did that off of.
Oh boy! And then they inbound it. Carr inbounds it to Johnson. Johnson hands it off to Carr. Carr drops it, and it goes out of bounds. Michigan basketball. It's a rough turnover for Marcus Carr, who's just strung finally a few plays together.
It looked like the Lions out there fumbling the ball
Yeah.
at the 1 yard line.
Eli Brooks dribbles the rock up, hands it off to Dickinson. Dickinson to Brooks, sets the screen. Brooks in the lane, now gets it over to Dickinson at the elbow. He's backing in on Robbins. Spin move, his shot off the mark. Left it a little short. We're under a minute to go here in the first half. Carr brings it up. 50 on the game clock. 22 on the shot clock. He dribbles inside. He's going to draw a foul. Carr now is really driving Minnesota's offense.
Carr reminds me a lot of John Morant. The way he plays, the way he drives, the way he takes balls to the hole. He's incredibly fearless, and it's something that Richard Pino probably loves from his guard.
There's a shot. First free throw goes through for Carr.
Taking it from Minnesota, number 35, Isaiah Aiden.
And the second one goes through, so Minnesota's now back within 6 after trailing by 12 just a couple minutes ago. They're on a quick 8-2 run here in the final 2 minutes of the first half. 35 seconds remaining. Brown dribbles inside, kicks Terrence Williams in the corner. Now he gives it back to Brown. Brown dribbles in the paint, and he's swatted. Minnesota grabs the rebound, and they can hold it for the last shot. And a chance to get it to within 4 or 3. This is a big possession right here. Michigan does have the possession arrow after the first half ends. Carr holds the ball. 10 seconds remaining. Carr's looking to shoot from 3, and Brooks is all over him. His step back 3 is going to be short. That's good defense from Eli Brooks. Michigan will go into the half up 6.
Good last 2 minutes there for the Gophers to get back in this game. Holding Michigan to just 2 points and getting 8 of their own. It's telling for the Gophers that they're able to get back in this game so quickly, and if they were to play the next 10 minutes of the next half at the same level and intensity, maybe this game will be much closer than it was this first half.
Michigan did not score in the final 2 minutes and 1 second of that half, as the Gophers in a little late surge there to make it a bit closer. 15 minutes are up on the Jumbotron. We will be back in about 12 minutes to bring you the second half between Michigan and Minnesota. You're listening to Michigan Basketball on WCBN Sports. Welcome back now to the second half of action between Michigan and Minnesota here from Chrysler Center. I'm Alex Drain, joined by Nabil Beg for Michigan and Minnesota top 20 matchup here in Ann Arbor. And Michigan leads 32-26 at the break. We've got about 90 seconds before the second half begins. If we look at the box score in that first half, Michigan 32 points, led by 14 from Hunter Dickinson. Minnesota's 26, led by 10 from Marcus Carr, and he got hot late in that first half, powering Minnesota to a late 8-2 run in the last 2.5 minutes to send themselves a little bit closer into halftime, but they still going to have to play better here in the second half to win this one.
Yeah. They're definitely going to have to work hard to get back in this game a little more because Michigan kind of took a little bit of a backseat in those last 2 minutes. But Minnesota can definitely get back in this game, and Michigan can also lose this game very quickly. Those last 2 minutes were not a good showing of what Michigan basketball was capable of doing in those kind of 10-minute to 2-minute range where they kind of took control. And both teams have finally kind of gotten their offensive groove going, so I'm looking for this half to be a little more offensively, have a little more offensive talent, I guess I would like to say, and for the defense to still make some big plays down the stretch as needed. I will say they play some very good music during halftime. It gets your pump going, gets your blood pumping.
Michigan with the 6-point advantage. Will also had 9 from Isaiah Livers on 4 of 7 from the field. The interesting thing, not many three-pointers in that first half. Minnesota made 4, Michigan made 2, but we'll see if Michigan takes more threes. I don't think they have to, given how effective they've been inside the arc.
Yeah.
Michigan will start with the ball because of the possession arrow.
The atmosphere in this arena is pretty different without fans, and props to the athletes out there for still playing pretty hard, and especially the benches getting into it on big plays.
Mike Smith starts with the basketball. Gives it over to Isaiah Livers. Now across to Franz Wagner. Back to Livers on the wing. They're trying to get it inside to Hunter Dickinson. He's matched up on Liam Robbins. He's backing in. Now he'll kick it out to Wagner. Back inside Dickinson. Bearing down. Lays it up and lays it in. Rims around and down for Michigan. They push their lead back up to 8 on the first possession, and they did not score in the final 2 minutes of that first half. So Michigan starts on a stronger foot here as we begin play in the second half. Kalsher across to Gatch, drives inside, gets bumped by Dickinson, no call, and he misses the layup. Michigan's got numbers in transition. Livers, though, can't really exploit it, gets it inside to Dickinson. He lays it up and lays it in. He'll exploit any matchup inside. Hunter Dickinson now 18 points on 9 of 11 from the field.
That is 50% of Michigan's total score at 36. That's incredible.
And the Wolverines are back up to a double-digit lead, 36-26, under 19 minutes to go now in the second half. Kalsher across, got Marcus Carr there. Carr hands it off to Robbins, across to Gatch. Wagner giving him a little bit of space. He dribbles inside the arc, now back across. Robbins open for 3, rims around and out. Dickinson the rebound. Now up to Brooks. Brooks finds Livers, driving inside. Livers lays it up and lays it in. That's a quick 6-0 run for Michigan here in the first 93 seconds of the half. Patino gets up out of his chair, and he's going to say something to Carr. Michigan on a little bit of a run here early on. Carr gets bumped by Dickinson outside. He's going to dribble in the paint, lays it up. That one's short. The big man the rebound. Dickinson's now got 4 boards to go with the 18-point. Smith finds Wagner in the corner. Thought about going up with it for 3. Now he dribbles inside. Wagner lays it up and in, but they're going to wave off the basket, say the foul came before the shot went up. No continuation there.
Great offense by the Wolverines to start this half. 2 minutes in, and they've already had a 6-point advantage over the Gophers. they're just overall playing with greater speed, greater speed and greater ability on the offensive end.
Smith inbounds it in. Wagner to Dickinson. And his pass for Smith is swatted off the hand of Carr. Michigan will retain possession. 15 on the shot clock. By Brooks, inbounds it. Smith finds Wagner, back to Smith, gets the screen from Dickinson. He drives baseline. He gets bumped by Minnesota. Falls down, the ball goes out of bounds, no whistle coming, and that'll be a turnover by Michigan. Referees really letting them play so far. A lot of contact on both ends. Michigan, I thought, got away with a couple bumps on their defensive end, and now they get one back the other way.
That definitely looked like a rough no call there. Smith looked like he got a little bit tripped, but
after that first half, almost no fouls called the entire half. Referee's going to continue to let these two teams play. There's Carr's jumper off the mark. Tipped around underneath. Eli Brooks saves it before it goes out of bounds. Livers to Wagner in the corner. Franz inside for the slam, and he's fouled. Tried to go with the one-handed jam, and someone underneath got a hand in there. Can't see who it was. Called a foul.
That Michigan bench wanted that so bad.
Well,
they were about to run onto the floor.
It was Einen in the corner who lost track of Wagner. Einen closed out. Wagner just drove right around him inside, and then the hand from Robbins denies the monster jam. And
yeah, he was about to put Robbins on a poster, which I haven't seen that much from Wagner. It actually reminded me of Mo Wagner from a couple years ago against Michigan State. But that was still a great play there by Wagner to get past the defense and get that foul call down low.
Both free throws go down. Michigan's now got their largest lead of the basketball game, 40-26, 17-15 to go here in the second half. Robbins hands it off to Kalsher. Kalsher over to Carr, now to Gatch. He drives baseline, and he gets bumped by Wagner there underneath. The whistle's starting to come a little bit more here.
Yeah, just a little bit of a body there by Wagner, just pushing him towards the baseline a little bit.
They inbound it into Kalsher, over to Robbins. Carr at the big block M, dribbles inside the three-point arc. Passes it over to Kalsher at the free throw line, and a nice jumper rattles down for Gabe Kalsher. Kalsher now has 6 points on 3 of 6 from the field, but still ice cold from three-point range. Mike Smith dribbles inside for Michigan underneath, and a acrobatic scoop is off the mark, but Hunter Dickinson grabs the rebound and puts it in. 20 points now for Dickinson on 10 of 12 from the field. Eli Brooks goes for a steal in the full court defense, and now Michigan loses Einen underneath for an easy jam. That's a defensive breakdown by the Wolverines.
Dickinson was actually getting boxed out in the last play by Carr.
42-30 the score now. Michigan on top. Wagner back across to Smith. Almost 4 minutes gone here in the second half. Smith flips it around to Livers, flips it back out. Smith for three, boom! And Michigan now leads by 15, their largest of the game.
Big shot there by Smith.
And now the parents and the bench for Michigan stomping their feet, trying to get the defense amped up. Carr goes around Brooks, inside, offhand scoop, no, tipped around. Michigan trying to grab it, and Brooks does, and he runs right into Einen, who knocks him down. And that'll be a whistle on Minnesota. Eli Brooks looks like he's in some pain. He definitely fell hard to the floor. And now we will go to the under-16 media timeout. Michigan, their largest lead of the game, 45-30. You're listening to Michigan basketball on WCBN Sports.
It was a pretty unfortunate foul there for the Gophers. Eli Brooks was going for the ball, same ball, and the Minnesota guy stood his ground a little more, and Eli Brooks fell a little bit, and so unfortunately that's that call there. But I will say, Michigan's ability to go through Dickinson on most of their plays has proven to be a great strategy for them this game. Robbins is not able to contain Dickinson very much at all. He has 20 points. Dickinson has 6 points above his average. And he's pretty much had his way down low. There was one play early on in this 4-minute stretch where Dickinson had the ball down low and he passed it back out to Wagner, and then Robbins kind of settled a little bit while guarding him, and Dickinson backed down a little bit further while the ball was on his hands, and Wagner gave right back, and Dickinson was in a much easier position to grab to get an easy bucket. And so it's things like that where you kind of have an easier, you have an advantage down low for sure. And so I wonder how, when you play the Purdue's or teams with big men down low, I wonder how that game is going to translate into those games. But so far, the Michigan offense is playing extremely well in this half.
So there is a person down on the court who had to sort of sanitize, I guess, where Eli Brooks hit the floor hard. I don't think there was any blood, but
no, I think it was his hair sweat. Unless he was bleeding, the doctor is looking at his nose
Brooks
right
is
now.
being looked at by the trainer, and that man is now down on his hands and knees, wiping up the area. It's just about 20 feet short of the half-court mark, sort of in the no-man's land between the half-court and the three-point line.
That's where you see a lot of the NBA players pulling up from nowadays.
Yeah. And Brooks has got a tissue or a napkin of sorts in his mouth. I don't know if it was a teeth issue, but he is going into the tunnel, it looks like.
It could be something to do with his lip, maybe a little bit of a gash or something. Let's hope he's doing okay as he goes to the locker room.
We're going to watch the replay right here. He grabbed it. Oh, he took a elbow to the face. That's what it was, Einen's elbow.
Yeah.
Einen was going up because he didn't want to hit Brooks, and he was kind of just going up with the arms to get out of the way, and inadvertently the elbow came down and got Eli Brooks, looks like on the nose of the mouth.
Yeah. Kind of similar to that Kawhi Leonard injury a couple weeks ago.
And something went flying. I think that was
his tooth, maybe.
It was either his tooth or some very large amounts of spit or something, but
large amounts of spit.
Something went flying is what we could see on that replay. Definitely not great to look at. Anyway, out of the timeout, Franz Wagner's got it on the baseline, and he uses the high glass. It goes down. Now it's a 17-point Michigan lead. 15 minutes remaining in the second half. Minnesota's got a long road back now as the Wolverines have missed just one field goal here in the early going of this second half. Einen pass across to Kalsher. He's got an open look for three. He leaves it short, but a good rebound underneath by Einen. Now he'll hand it off to Marcus Carr. Possession keeps going. Einen open for three. That one rattles around. No, but Liam Robbins the rebound. Tipped around. Dickinson's playing defense on him. Robbins' shot is off the mark. That one tipped. Will go out of bounds off Dickinson. This possession continues for Minnesota. This could be their fourth field goal attempt on the same possession. Wolverines not rebounding with the same veracity right now.
Coaches get really excited when you see that you get a possession over and over
again.
Oh
boy, and they just throw it away on the inbound. Mike Smith comes up with it. He's got Wagner going inside. Euro step layup, and it goes. Now a 19-point Michigan lead. They just had a long timeout, so you don't want to use one again if you're Pitino, but this game is sliding out of reach very quickly if Minnesota cannot flip the script in the next couple minutes. They find Kalsher in the corner, drives baseline, kicks it back out, got it to Carr. Now he's going to drive inside, uses the body, and they're going to say he pushed off. It's an offensive foul on Marcus Carr, pushing off on Mike Smith. Michigan on a 7-0 run in the last 2 minutes. They've made their last 4 from the field. Minnesota hasn't scored in over 2 minutes.
I call that the James Harden foul. That off-arm action being used. It's definitely a recent call that's been called a lot more.
Minnesota's going to make some substitutions. They pull Kalsher off the floor, put Gatch back out there. Mike Smith dribbles the ball up, Over to Hunter Dickinson. Now over to Isaiah Livers. His three-pointer, no. The bench would have exploded if Livers could have knocked that one down. Would have put Michigan up 22. Now Carr brings the ball up, guarded by Sean D. Brown, who has come into the game. They flip it over to Gatch. Back out to Carr, now to Einen. Hands it off to Jamal Moshburn. They have Carr open for a moment. Now he drives inside. Swatted by Wagner on the pass to the corner. It goes out of bounds. Will stay with the Gophers. 7 on the shot clock.
Great defense there by Wagner. So it's that long reach that you were talking about early on.
Carr gets it into Gatch. They're going to try to just get it back to Carr. Now 3 on the shot clock. Inside Eric Curry. 1 second. Oh, and he got it to go. Just kind of flipped it up with the underhand scoop, and it went in.
Beautiful shot there, actually. Getting that turnaround just around Dickinson.
Mike Smith with the ball, flips it over to Isaiah Livers. Now inside Hunter Dickinson. Dickinson backing in, and he uses the high glass for the layup. Hunter Dickinson's now got 22 on 11 of 13 from the field.
You can tell Juwan Howard worked a lot with Dickinson this offseason. That soft touch in the right with both hands is absolutely incredible.
And now we get a timeout from Minnesota. Richard Pitino is going to try and stop the bleeding right now as Michigan continues to lead by their largest of the game, 19, 51-32. Michigan is shooting 59% from the floor. Minnesota only 32% from the floor, and the Gophers now have turned it over 10 times. This Michigan team really Michigan's playing well. That's what you can say after Northwestern and again here tonight.
Yeah. Michigan has played a very good first 10 games. Well, this game included. And I think that teams around the league are starting to take notice of this squad and maybe giving them a little more notice than they were given early on. And when that happens, you have to see how good the Michigan squad can handle that increased pressure to do well. Teams are starting to look at your record and be like, I want to give them their first loss. I want to be the one that takes them down from their mantle that they're on. And so we'll have to see how they respond to that. But so far they've been playing some very compelling basketball. They're keeping their plays intact. They're playing some great offensive basketball. They're playing some really athletic and explosive defense on their end. And so they're going to be a tough one to take down in the Big Ten and overall later on in wherever they end up in whatever tournament they end up in. But so far, this Michigan team is looking pretty legit.
Well, with regards to the NCAA tournament, we received the news a few days ago that the entire tournament will be played in Indianapolis in what we presume will be a bubble-like format.
That's pretty cool. 68 teams in Indianapolis.
It would definitely be an ambitious project to say the least, but there's no shortage of arenas, and with presumably very few fans, you wouldn't have to worry about the size of the venue as long as you can play basketball. If you can get a few gyms, you'd have the Pacers Arena, with a few others in the area. You could
honestly, you can make Lucas Oil Stadium into two stadiums if you wanted.
That's true. That's where the Final Four, we presume, will be held. But Michigan in Joe Lunardi's first bracketology of 2021 was a 2 seed.
That's pretty high.
Well, they
are up there.
They are playing very well right now, and Minnesota's another team. Minnesota just beat down Ohio State, just a couple days ago, and for Michigan to come out and be playing the way they are right now, they got to finish the deal though. 12:56 to go in the game. Cannot take the foot off the gas. Yeah.
Still a lot of time for a Richard Pino squad to get back into this. And all you got to do is really just start chipping away 2 points every minute, and just start getting it down.
Out of the timeout, Minnesota's got the basketball. Einen underneath, flips it around to Freeman. Freeman backs in. Good defense from Johns. Freeman gets his own rebound, though, and he gets fouled by Johns underneath as they've inserted the power forward, Brandon Johns, into the game. Dickinson's getting his rest right now.
When this squad does not have Smith on the floor, they're a very, very tall team.
Yeah.
And even with that like height advantage, they're still pretty fast, which is something that most teams are looking for in today's basketball world.
Freeman sinks the first free throw, second one on the way, and he makes them both. Minnesota gets a couple points here on this possession, but again, it really starts with the defense right now. Michigan's made 5 of their last 6 from the field. Minnesota just has no answer for Michigan's offense right now. Mike Smith dribbles in the lane inside, hands it over to Livers. Livers to the rack, lays it up, and lays it in. Count it, and a foul. And he'll have a chance now to sink a free throw that could put Michigan up a full 20. And again, you just see the penetration there of Mike Smith into the lane, way too easy. Hands it off to Livers, and then Livers does the rest.
Yeah. One thing that I've enjoyed watching from this Michigan basketball team this game is their willingness to penetrate and kick the ball back out. They've done that quite a bit of times, and honestly, Mike Smith, I think, does it the most on this squad. And it shows that he's willing to give the ball up, but it also shows that he's coherent enough to know that the defense is kind of settling around him and his wing teammates are open.
Livers makes the free throw. Michigan now leads by 20, 12:27 to go in the game. Carr dribbles up. Switched on to Johns. That's an athletic mismatch for Minnesota. They don't take advantage, though. Kalsher passes it around now to Trey Williams. They're trying to get Freeman underneath. Oh, boy, that one thrown away. It'll be an over in the back, but Shawnee Brown gets there first. He's going to race up for a two-handed slam. Minnesota knew it was going to be an over in the back if they touched it, and they just kind of stopped running.
Yeah.
Shawnee Brown came out of nowhere down the sideline like DK Metcalf, picked it up, and swooped in for the two-handed slam. Michigan leads by 22 now. Freeman across to Kalsher. Kalsher in the lane, lays that shot up. It's short. Wagner grabs the rebound after a bit of a tip drill underneath. Smith, the screen from Johns. He's into the lane. Smith underneath. Acrobatic underneath scoop using the backboard to put it in. Michigan now leads by 24. Another 7-0 run in the last minute. Driving inside him. I think we're going to get an offensive foul as going down to the floor is Shawnee Brown. That screen, referee said, is an illegal screen. Don't know what happened there.
It looked like Trey Williams used his offhand and kind of hit Shawnee Brown in the face. Not sure if that is what happened, but on that Mike Smith lay-in, he was literally falling down. He kind of just threw it up and
kind of a Xavier Simpson type play, and both teams now are sitting down and huddling up at the under 12 media timeout. Michigan leads by 24 now, their largest lead of the game. You think about just a couple minutes ago when we were talking about the game still going, and it was 19 at that juncture. Now it's 24 in just the last minute or so. I mean, it really just continues to get out of hand for Minnesota, and they've only got 11-20 to make it up.
It definitely is running out of time for the Gophers, but there still is a lot you can take out of this game for Richard Pitino and his squad. He definitely has to try and get something out of this defense to try to learn ways to stop this Michigan offense. They're playing them again in 10 days. Richard Pitino does not want this to be another game like this. And he definitely wants to be more competitive, but he wants his team to play with more fire. Right now it looks like they're playing, but it doesn't look like they're they're giving it their all like Michigan squad does on every possession. I mean, a microcosm of that was when the ball went into over back, and even though it's an over back, you still want to make sure that the offense doesn't have an easy bucket. And Shawnee Brown kind of just swept by them and got an easy dunk. On that Trey Williams offensive foul, it looked like he put his elbow up and hit Shawnee Brown in the face, and that's why they called that foul on him.
Yeah, let's take a look again. Oh yeah, he's driving in and he just kind of flares the elbow out, kind of a chicken wing there, and gets Shawnee Brown right in the kisser. And
chicken wing sounds good right now, though.
And then Brown, I mean, definitely shaken up as he hits to the floor. That's an easy foul for the baseline referee to call. And Minnesota's just got to get it back together. And you talk about Minnesota just a couple days ago, a really exuberant beatdown of Ohio State, and now they find themselves on the other end of one right now.
And that win against Ohio State was not like a fluke win for this Minnesota squad. They're a good team. Just today, they have not played with the same level that Michigan has played with.
Well, we were wondering about how ready these teams would be to come out and play, how much preparation there was today, obviously, with a lot of news going on in Washington, D.C. We don't know how much the players of the teams were watching that, but certainly pretty hard to concentrate in the afternoon. But Michigan did their prep, and they came out ready to play tonight. They assessed a technical foul, I believe, on Minnesota. Shawnee Brown is getting 2 free throws. He missed the first. Here comes his second. He makes that one, so Michigan will now go up 25 points, 59-34.
The dynamic of a free throw without players next to you is much different. He's standing out there with the ref.
And now Michigan's already put Zeb Jackson into the game. Not sure if we're going to see more backup players come in. Here's Livers from 3 from the wing. That shot is short, but Brown grabs the rebound down. He's underneath, goes up with it, puts it up and puts it in. Shawnee Brown puts Michigan up at 27 points.
Great hustle there by Shawnee Brown. And they come back right back down the floor and press coming up on.
And that's that's his motor. I mean, he just keeps going, and also a good sign for Michigan to be up 25 in the game, and your players are not letting up at all. They find Kalsher in the corner. His three-pointer rattles around and out. Isaiah Livers grabs down the rebound. He's got it up to Shawnee. He'll slow it down. Tries to go into Johns, and now Johns underneath. Great pass to Wagner to Jackson in the corner. Jackson stutter steps, and he traveled.
Wagner was a split second too late on that corner feed to Jackson. Jackson would have had an open look if Wagner got that ball out a little bit quicker.
Well, Livers comes out. Hunter Dickinson back in, so Juwan Howard is not fully going to backups yet, even though Zeb Jackson, who doesn't play very much at the point guard position, is out there. The freshman from Maumee, Ohio.
Some good practice for him, though, next year.
Brandon Johnson, a long 3 is off the mark. Minnesota shooting now just 30% from the field. Michigan over 60% from the game. Zeb Jackson dribbles the ball up, gets a small screen, kicks to Brandon Johns in the corner. Johns underneath is fouled. 2 Gophers converge, and Brandon Johns will go to the free throw line as he went up for the dunk attempt for 2 free throws.
Yeah, great play there by Brandon Johns.
Right at the halfway point of this second half, 9:56 to go. Johns at the free throw line, dribbles it twice, bends the knees, goes up with the first one. That one is a little short. So the Michigan team with a lot of good free throw shooters, but Johns not among the best. In terms of foul trouble, Minnesota's now got 7 fouls here in this half. Michigan's in the bonus, and Brandon Johnson, who just went off the floor, has got 4. Johns' second goes through, and Michigan leads by 28.
I think Minnesota still would not be in the bonus if they accumulated fouls from both the first half and the second half for Michigan.
That would be correct. Liam Robbins, double team by Dickinson and Johns. He's in trouble. Now he has to just flip it outside. There's Carr, long step back deuce off the mark, tipped around, and Dickinson grabs the rebound. Harassed by Trey Williams underneath. Minnesota cannot buy a shot. Here's Wagner, a wide open three. Rattles around, and it goes. Took about 5 hops off the iron, and it dropped. Michigan now leads by 31, 65-34. They are on a 14-0 run in the last 3:09. Now just a jack-up three from Trey Williams does not go, and just nothing is going Minnesota's way right now. Trey Williams hands it off to Sean D. Brown. He dribbles inside, waits, kicks it out. Zeb Jackson inside to Hunter Dickinson, and there's a foul.
Interestingly, Hunter Dickinson missed that open layup that he got after the foul.
Yeah. Dickinson will go to the free throw line and will shoot a 1-and-1 with the bonus.
When the ball kind of dribbles around that much on a rim on that last three-pointer by Wagner, that's not luck. I think that's part of the spin he puts on the ball.
Yeah,
you know?
The shooter's touch. Dickinson's first free throw is good. He'll get a second one. Michigan now 2 points away from doubling up Minnesota in this game with a 32-point lead, and Minnesota's only got 34 points. Dickinson's second goes through. He's now got 24 points, 2 short of his career high.
This would be an absolute beatdown if the score continued to stay similar.
Well, you got to think only a couple more minutes, and then the full backups will come in for Michigan.
Yeah.
Zeb Jackson defends Jamal Moshburn, whose shot is short. Minnesota has not scored in 4 minutes. Dickinson pulls down the rebound. Zeb Jackson with the rock. Across to Sean D. Brown. Brown gets a screen from Dickinson. Step back, Jay. No. Johns the rebound underneath. Johns backing in. Left-handed scoop. Rims around and down. Brandon Johns puts it through. Michigan now 69-34. Moshburn across now. Booth Gotch with the ball. It's a small screen from Freeman. Gotch dribbles inside. They kick it around. Now underneath, and a swat from Franz Wagner. This Michigan team is not letting up. Franz came out of nowhere to block that basketball.
You got to think one big basket and this Michigan bench is going to explode.
Flips it up, trying to get an alley-oop to Dickinson, and there's a foul underneath. Dickinson will get 2 more free throws after the under 8-minute timeout, and Michigan's just playing playground basketball right now.
Yeah, at this point, that alley-oop would have brought the house down, and these cardboard cutouts.
They have fully doubled up Minnesota, 69-34.
Yeah, great basketball being played by the Michigan Wolverines. The Gophers just have no answers in the second half. They kept it close in the first half, but this half they have only scored, I want to say 8 points, if I'm not mistaken. And that's just not how you win any basketball games in the Big Ten, especially with a Michigan team that has outscored them by almost 30 points in this half. So the Gophers have some questions on the defensive end, and they're just not getting anything past this Juwan Howard-led, Phil Martelli assistant-coached defense. And I'm intrigued to see if the score holds up, what backups Juwan Howard brings in. It's not set in stone who he likes to play during these times. But Sean D. Brown has played incredibly well off the bench for his Michigan team, providing a spark for them on both the defensive and offensive end. So that's been pretty great to watch for this Michigan team. Not much to be said for Minnesota's defense, though. The scoring being primarily done by Marcus Carr and Liam Robbins, as per usual.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the split box right now, and Dickinson 24, Livers 14, Wagner 12. Minnesota has 1 scorer in double figures, and that's Carr, and he hasn't scored this half.
Yep.
He had 10 at halftime, and he is still sitting at 10. Minnesota has 8 points in 12 minutes here in this second half. Michigan has 37.
Incredible basketball being played.
Dickinson 11 of 13 from the field. Livers 6 of 11.
A complete shutdown, honestly, in the second half. It's been no compare. Honestly, at this point, I just want to see what he said at halftime to make them play this way. But Isaiah Livers does come back out.
Well, Dickinson under the timeout will get another 1-and-1. Michigan is staying with the starters out there, except for Zeb Jackson, of course. A little bit longer. Dickinson rattles home the first free throw. I mean, this will be another game where Michigan gets to play the backups at some point once we get into that sort of garbage time. Dickinson makes them both. Michigan now leads by 37. Their lead is larger than Minnesota has points. And get this, a 20-0 run in the last 4:35.
That's pretty incredible.
Brandon Johnson with his 4 fouls is back out there for Minnesota. They're just going to play everyone that they can in the waning moments. Robbins passes it around to Johnson. He gets denied by Johns what they call a foul.
Good foul call there. He got the block, but he led with the body, which I'm pretty sure is what the ref called there.
Yeah. Brandon Johnson stands at the free throw line. He'll get 2 free throws. 7:36 to go. He rattles home the first. That finally snaps the
20-0 run.
The 20-0 run.
It looks like Robbins hurt on the bench. Something to do with his left leg. He's with the trainer currently right now. Looking at that front knee part.
Dickinson with the rock, passes it across to Livers, now over to Zeb Jackson. Jackson crossover, step back 2, got it! That's an athletic and very good shot there from Zeb Jackson.
That was gorgeous, absolutely beautiful.
And that's where you can see the potential for Zeb Jackson.
Yeah, and the Michigan bench is loving it, absolutely.
Dribbling inside his car, he's swarmed there by Jackson, now hands it over Kalsher for 3, and finally Gabe Kalsher gets one to go.
There's that three-point shooter.
Jackson dribbles the ball up. Now over to Livers. Under 7 minutes to go in the game. Dickinson swings it, and his pass is intercepted by Gatch. Gatch pass up to Carr, and Shawnee Brown tried to get a block. Instead, it's going to be a goaltend. 73-41. Michigan, a couple turnovers here, a little bit sloppier, but I mean, they've got a 32-point lead with 6.5 minutes to go. And again, that's the hustle you love there from Shawnee Brown. I mean, even though it was a goaltend, going all out with a 30-point lead to try and get that block.
Just a split second too late there.
Looks like Liam Robbins is getting his sort of thighs or massaged by the trainer on the Minnesota bench. There's a turnover. Mike Smith came onto the floor and threw it away. Carr dribbles up. His three-pointer is short in the corner. Freeman grabs the rebound down, flips it up back to Carr. Carr dribbles baseline, walled off by Smith. Finds Gatch underneath, guarded by Johns. He goes back out to Kalsher. 3 on the shot clock. He's got to shoot it back to Gatch. His three-pointer is no good. Tipped around on the floor, though. Dickinson couldn't secure the rebound. Gatch dribbles the other side, and he rattles home a jumper.
This Minnesota offense is starting to spark back up a little bit.
Yeah, this is a 7-0 run in the last minute 12 after a 20-0 run in Michigan's favor. Smith with the ball. Livers inside to Dickinson. Dickinson on the low block, backing in. And he tries to go up with it. His shot is off the mark, but Brandon Johns grabs the rebound, and he puts it up and puts it in.
That front court duo of Brandon Johns and Hunter Dickinson is incredibly strong, and with so much height and length there's it's going to be incredibly difficult to rebound over them. And if one misses, the other one's there for the putback.
Carr over to Freeman. Freeman backing in on Dickinson. Kicks it to the corner. Gatch dribbles around, hands it off to Kelcher. His shot is long off the heel, and now the ball is on the floor. A loose ball foul, I think, on Livers. Yeah, it'll go on Livers, so Minnesota will get to inbound it. And now Juwan Howard's walking over to his bench. We'll see how long it takes for him to bring some backup players onto the floor with a 32-point lead and under 5 minutes to go. The walk-ons got to play a little bit in the game on Sunday against Northwestern, which was a similar blowout. They inbound it to Carr. Carr backs up and stands at the block M. Dribbles around into the lane, flips it up, and his shot is a little long again, but Minnesota gets another offensive rebound. Now they get it around to Carr again. He dribbles inside, and a floater goes down. Back to a 30-point lead. 4:25 to go. Michigan just not rebounding with the same intensity right now. Mike Smith, wraparound pass to Hunter Dickinson for the slam.
Smith and Dickinson have a great connection on the floor. They're finding each other and making some great passes.
Now Marcus Carr's shot is short, tipped underneath. Carr got his own rebound. You can tell that Michigan just really is not defending the paint at the same veracity, but that shot from Johnson comes up short anyway, and Minnesota gets nothing from that empty possession. Juwan Howard calls a timeout. Now he's going to put the walk-ons on. 3:47 to go in the game. Michigan leads 77-45.
You gotta love how Michigan has not played great the past 4 minutes, but they are still winning by 32 points at 77-45. That's just pretty incredible. And so this Michigan squad is going to go into the locker room tonight with a win. Most probably. They're going to be 10-0 to start the 2020 season, and they are going to head into the rest of 2021 being the only undefeated team in the Big Ten.
And they would move to 5-0 in the conference, which is also significant. And again, with this Saturday game against Penn State being postponed, the next game is next week here in Chrysler against Wisconsin, which, that is a big, big game, as Michigan now is definitely making a case alongside it. Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin is the best team in the conference. They haven't played any of those teams yet. They'll get to see Wisconsin next week.
And those are going to be some big tests for the Wolverines. And even in the event of a couple losses here and there, they're going to be at the top of the Big Ten if they continue to play the way they're playing now. And as from what I'm seeing on the floor, this Michigan Wolverines team has only gotten better as the games have gone on. They look like they're gelling more. They're passing the ball around. They're getting hyped for each other on the bench. From that one game where Livers and Juwan Howard had that bit of a spat on the floor, Livers has played extremely well these past 4 or 5 games, to where he's now leading the team again, and so you like to see the strides this Michigan team has taken. The Gophers team is going to have a little bit of a setback after today. I think Kelcher still has to get going. He's had a pretty big slump to start this year. For someone who's a shooter, he's having a tough time shooting the ball. And Marcus Carr, while leading the team with 14 points, it was not to his usual efforts today. And so this Minnesota team has to find other people to step up and make some plays when your top 2 players are having some of their tougher games. Zeb Jackson staying in the game.
Zeb Jackson is in. Jace Howard is in. Terrence Williams makes his second appearance. Adrian Nunez is out there, and Jaron Falds is as well. Well, women's basketball 7-0 for Michigan. They'll be back at it tomorrow. They've got a couple games upcoming. So it's going to be a busy next week here at Chrysler Center. 2 men's games, 2 women's games. Inbound pass from Chase Howard into Zeb Jackson. Across to Adrian Nunez. He'll find Terrence Williams on the low post. He's backing into the lane, and he's going to be called for an offensive foul. Looks like Brandon Johnson who drew the charge right there.
I'm actually excited to see how Adrian Nunez plays this next 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, he was the guy that, just last year he was getting regular rotation minutes and has really just kind of fallen out of the rotation, but he seems to enjoy being at Michigan.
Yeah.
He had an opportunity to transfer, and he chose not to. Jaron Falds saves that one on the baseline after a missed shot by Minnesota, and it goes out of bounds off a Minnesota foot, and Michigan takes over. Howard.
Jace Howard actually got his first 2 points last game, correct?
Yes. The team was very excited about that. Jackson dribbles inside, bounce pass for Falds, and that one is taken away. Gophers come up with it, pass across. There's a 3-point attempt, and it goes down. They've got some bench players into the game as well.
Martrice Mitchell.
That's going to be Mitchell. A 3-pointer gets it back under 30, 77-48. 2:52 to go in the game. Jackson finds Nunez. That one rattles around and out. Gophers dribble up with it. Trey Williams inside. Good defense by Terrence Williams, but he makes it anyway. Chase Howard inbounds it now to Zeb Jackson. 77-50. 2:30 to go. Jace Howard with the rock across to Terrence Williams, across to Zeb Jackson. Gets Howard underneath, lays it up, and it's just off the mark. The bench wanted that one again. Instead, he'll get 2 free throws upcoming.
Great cut there by Jace Howard, finding a little bit of an opening, hitting it in stride. Let's see if he can get his 3rd and 4th points of the game.
These will be his first free throws of his career upcoming. First one is too strong, but it manages to just kind of die on the back iron and roll in. 78-50. Michigan's gotten those kinds of rolls all night long.
When those rolls go your way the entire night, you're looking like you're going to win.
Second one bounces hard and out. Step back 3 from Trey Williams goes down, shooting over Adrian Nunez right there. Under 2 minutes to go in the game. That trims it down to 25. Minnesota's made their last 3 from the field. Zeb Jackson's got an open 3 attempt, and that one rattles around and out. Falds, though, grabs the rebound. Falds goes up with it and misses it. Terrence Williams grabs the rebound. He goes up with it, and he'll draw a foul. And now Terrence Williams, maligned at the free throw line in earlier games this season, will get a chance to try and right the ship a bit at the stripe.
The bench players are playing well.
First one goes through.
For not playing in many of these games. This is a top 20 matchup then, because the Michigan starters were able to get this large of a lead. They've been able to play, and so it's great experience for them to try to get on that court and just get a couple plays in.
Terrence Williams made both of his free throws. Michigan.
And you love to see it.
Michigan now leads by 27.
They hit the 8th century.
Dribbling inside and knocking it down is Jamal Moshburn. 80-55, 1:23 to go. Only a couple possessions left in this game, most likely. Zeb Jackson finds Adrian Nunez. Nunez a long 2, and he banks it home. Nunez way off the mark there, but again, another just fortunate bounce for Michigan right off the backboard and in.
And maybe that's where that home advantage plays in, you know?
Perhaps. Got a bump underneath on Terrence Williams.
I saw a stat where it said home teams are 23-9, if I'm not mistaken.
In the Big Ten?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that was a higher mark than they were even last season. And so maybe these fans, while they are needed, they're not really needed for home court advantage.
Well, it could also just be travel considerations for the teams versus just getting you to be at home. And there's another three-pointer from Washburn, and he knocks that one down. And he's getting to pad his numbers a little bit here in the last few moments of the game. We're under a minute to go. Michigan now leads by 25. They actually say it was a long 2. 40 seconds remaining. Jackson into Jaron Faulds. Faulds underneath, lays it up. Oh, and it tipped out. Now Nunez across to Jackson. His three-pointer is short. Jackson grabs his own rebound. Underneath, looking for, I think, Howard, and he's swatted. 25 seconds left. Minnesota's got 3-on-2 the other way. Pull-up 3 from Washburn, rims around and out. Jackson grabs it, but he runs out of bounds before he could save the ball. 17 seconds remaining. Michigan leads 82-57. Michigan most likely will not be attempting another shot, so this will be the final score unless Minnesota can make one last basket. Shot clock is off. Trey Williams, step back jumper off the mark. Terrence Williams pulls it down. Michigan will dribble it out. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that does it. Terrence Williams attempts a half-court shot as the time expires, and Michigan wins 82-57. Another beatdown of a top 25 opponent here at Chrysler Center. Michigan's on a roll. They are 10-0 on the season, 5-0 in the conference.
Michigan played completely lights out today, controlling this game from the start to the finish. Minnesota had a chance to get back into it late in the first half, but couldn't continue that on in the second half, and it was just a runaway game for the Wolverines. Unfortunately, I mean, the score makes it seem like it was closer than it actually was, but this game was it could have been 90 plus to like less than 40. So this Michigan squad is good, and these next upcoming matches against Wisconsin and even Minnesota in 10 days is going to be important for the rest of their season.
Michigan wins at 82-57. Again, no game this Saturday. They'll be back at it next week. That'll be our next men's basketball broadcast. Until then, from Chrysler Center, we'll leave you with a good night and a Go Blue.